Have you ever felt it? That cold spot in a warm room, the feeling of being watched when you're all alone? It's a feeling that tells you something is there, something you just can't see. We live in a world full of light and sound, but there's another world. A world of shadows and whispers. This is the world of spirits, the world of ghosts. For centuries people have told stories of these spirits. They make you check under your bed one more time before you sleep. We want proof. We want to know what happens after we die. Is there something more? Or is it just darkness? A camera can be our window into that other world. It can capture things our eyes miss. It can show us what hides in the dark. Our first stop is a place of deep history and sorrow. We travel to Raynham Hall in Norfolk, England. The grand house that holds a dark secret. Her story begins with Lady Dorothy Walpole. She married Charles Townshend. Her husband was cruel. As punishment, he locked her away in a room at Raynham Hall. She was never allowed to leave. Lady Dorothy died there in 1726. Officially smallpox. Her spirit never left. Forever trapped within those walls. Over the years, many have seen her. They describe a woman in a brown dress, a pale face, dark, empty eyes. In 1936, two photographers arrived at Raynham Hall. They worked for Country Life magazine. Captain Hubert C. Provand and his assistant Indre Shira photographed the house. Shira saw a misty form coming down the stairs. Provand couldn't see it, but he took the picture. In the dark room, they were shocked. On the negative, a transparent figure, the brown lady. The photo ran in the magazine and the world was stunned. Experts examined the negative and could find no tampering, no double exposure, no tricks. The image appeared real, the first clear full-bodied apparition captured on camera. Decades later, the brown lady remains one of the most photographed and argued about ghost images in history. Our next case takes us to a fire, a tragedy that destroyed a historic building. In 1995, the Wem Town Hall in Shropshire burned to the ground. The building dated back to 1905. Tony O'Rahilly, an amateur photographer, documented the disaster from across the street with a zoom lens. Later, when his film was developed, one picture made him freeze. In the doorway of the burning hall, a small figure stood. A young girl in old-fashioned clothes, lit by the fire, looking at the camera. O'Rahilly showed the photo to locals. No one remembered a girl being there. No one could have survived that inferno. Local historians mentioned Jane Churm, a girl said to have started a great fire in Wem in 1677. Could this be her spirit? In 2010, a postcard from 1922 was found showing the same girl. It suggested O'Rahilly's image was likely a composite of two images. The mystery was solved, a likely composite, but for decades the Wem ghost girl haunted the public imagination. It is a reminder that sometimes the image is stronger than the reality behind it. Still, for a long time, the photograph stood as proof to many. Even when an explanation appears, the image's hold on us can remain. Now we leave the old buildings behind and head out onto the open road. Our next story comes from a simple family photo taken in 1959 by Mabel Chinnery. She and her husband were visiting a cemetery. After their visit, Mabel snapped a photo of him waiting in the car. Later, when the film was developed, she got a shock. In the back seat sat another person, a figure wearing glasses. She recognized the person immediately. It was her mother, the woman they'd just visited at the grave. "I stake my reputation on the fact that the picture is genuine," an expert later said after examining the print. Skeptics point to reflections, double exposures, tricks of light on windows and seat patterns. But for Mabel and her family, it was proof. A message from beyond, a final goodbye. The image is intensely personal. Not a haunted house, but a family car where grief and presence collide. Was it reflection, trick of light, or a mother giving one last ride? The truth remains contested. For those who felt the loss, the photo was enough. Our investigation now leads us to a royal palace, Hampton Court in London. This place is filled with history, power, and pain. King Henry VIII's many wives left their mark, and some say their spirits. Catherine Howard was arrested at the palace. Legend says she ran down the hall screaming for the king. She was caught and executed. People say her screams can still be heard in the haunted gallery. Jane Seymour, Henry's third wife, is said to be a gentler spirit, seen wandering the palace grounds carrying a candle. Staff and visitors report doors opening, cold spots, footsteps in empty rooms. In 2003, the palace's security cameras recorded something startling. A set of heavy fire doors flew open with great force, but no one was visible on camera. Later, a frame showed a tall, cloaked figure and a pale, almost skull-like face. the tabloid name, Skeletor. The figure closed the doors and then vanished. Staff were baffled. Skeptics suggested a prankster in period costume, but questions remain: why at night and how were the heavy doors moved? The footage remains unexplained, a modern recording that returned the palace's old legends to the headlines. Whether stage trick or spirit, the Hampton court case reminds us how past and present can collide, on camera. Our final piece of evidence comes from a quiet church, Newby Church, in North Yorkshire. Built in the 1870s, it seemed an unlikely place for a haunting, yet a photograph taken in 1963 changed everything. Reverend Kenneth F. Lord set up his camera to capture the altar. The church was empty, or so he thought. When the photographs were developed, standing next to the altar was a tall, cloaked, hooded figure with a white shroud partially over its face. The face was gaunt and skull-like, with dark hollows where the eyes should be. The figure was semi-transparent. Reverend Lord was shocked. Experts examined the negative and found no signs of tampering or double exposure. Measured against the altar, the figure would have been about 9 feet tall, not a man in ordinary costume. Skeptics suggested double exposure or a mask, but Reverend Lord insisted the photo was genuine. He was a man of faith and had no reason to lie. The Newby monk remains one of the most unsettling images, a towering, spectral presence staring back from the past. The church has no history of monks. Some propose a spirit from nearby dissolved monastery, others point to film anomaly. The debate continues. Whatever the cause, the photograph holds its power, a silent, chilling figure from the past, staring at us from the shadows. With every piece of paranormal evidence, there are two sides, the side that wants to believe and the side that wants to explain. Skeptics force us to rule out logical explanations, examining negatives, testing for double exposure, checking for reflections. For Raynham, some suggested lens smudges or double exposure. For Wem, a postcard solved the puzzle. For Hampton Court, a late-night guide could explain the figure. The debate keeps the mystery alive. Skeptics make the evidence stronger, believers keep the stories meaningful. Even when a case is explained, others remain unexplained, the ones that stick with us. We use science, logic, history, interviews, to test every angle, but sometimes, even after all that, there are no answers. Those unanswered images are the ones that haunt us, where logic stops and wonder begins. Why are we so fascinated by these stories? Why do old, grainy photos still capture our imagination? They speak to a deep human need to know what comes next. Since the beginning of time, humans have looked at death and wondered, is this the end or a new beginning? Ghosts represent the possibility that consciousness survives, that our loved ones are still with us. So we use cameras, recorders, thermal gauges, anything that might show us a trace. Each photo or EVP is a small victory, a clue that keeps us going like modern campfire tales that comfort and warn. These images are guides into the unknown, invitations to keep searching. Even with science, some shadows remain. We have walked through haunted halls and stood in the ashes of a fire. We have looked into the faces of spirits caught on film. From the brown lady to the Newby monk, these photos are more than images. They are artifacts of the unknown, puzzle pieces we may never fully assemble. They sit on the line between our world and the next, moments when the veil thins. The question is not whether ghosts are real. The question is, are you prepared for what you might find when you finally see one?